So here we have our force calc script from an earlier video, and what I'm going to do is show you some ways to improve this script a little bit. And the most important thing that you should be doing whenever you are writing any kind of MATLAB code is actually documenting it and describing it for the benefit of someone else who might come along to read it later, or even for yourself when you come along in a week's time and you can't remember exactly what it was that you were doing. And so the way that you do this is to create a thing called a comment. Now, a comment in MATLAB begins with a % symbol like this, and you'll see that it's highlighted in green in the editor. And so the comment is basically a description which is provided for the benefit of the reader, so the benefit of the programmer who will come along and actually look at your code. So I'll write here, calculate the force as the comment which will describe that step. And so this is a really good habit to get into, to actually write comments to describe your code. Basically because as you start to get more complicated programs, it'll make things a lot easier on yourself and on other people looking at your code if you have these useful comments. So what you do is you just put a % symbol and then everything from the % until the end of that line is considered a comment. And so that means it's completely ignored by MATLAB itself. It's only there for the benefit of you reading it. And so you can actually put comments after a line, so like you see here, so I put a % and then I make a note that the units here are kilograms, for example. And so then if someone else was to come along and look at my program, then that helps document the fact that this particular value has particular units. So there you go. So that's a very important habit. Make sure that you write comments all of the time, basically. Yeah, always write comments. So there's one more thing which I want to show you for this video, and that is the meaning of these columns down the side here. So you have no doubt noticed that the lines are numbered, so 1, 2, 3 and so on, number each of these lines, and so that gives a way to refer to a particular location within the file. But in addition to that, there's also this other column to the right of that, which has these little dashes in it. And so the meaning of these dashes indicates that particular line has an instruction that will actually do something. So you see, for example, line 1 is just a comment. So there's no actual instruction. This doesn't achieve any effect in the program. It's simply there for documentation purposes. So there's no dash next to 1. But there is a dash here for line 2, because line 2 has an impact. What it's doing is assigning this value 55 onto this variable called mass. Line 3 is blank, so again there's no dash there. And so the purpose of this column is that if I actually click on the dash, you see it puts this little red circle here. And so this red circle is called a breakpoint. And so what this means, this is basically like think of this like a stop sign. So it means that when the program gets to this line, it will actually pause and stop where it's up to and let us interact with it. And so let us basically look at the values of the variables and even modify them and play around and basically see how the program is going. And so what I'll do is I'll just run this to demonstrate for you. So I go up here and I click run, and so what happens is that we get this green arrow which appears here next to our breakpoint which we set on line number 2. And so the green arrow means that the program is up to this point. So it's about to run line number 2. So I can demonstrate that. Let's go back to the main MATLAB window. Notice that our prompt here is actually changed. We have a K out the front here, which means that we're in this debugging mode. And also down here in the status bar, you see it has the text that says stopped in debugger. So if I type in clear over here, notice that our variables are now gone from our workspace. So if I now go back to our editor window, what I'm going to do is let it run line number 2 and just make it stop down here at line number 5. And the way that I do that is with this step button over here. And so step means just go and run the line that you're on and then stop and let me play around a bit more before you go any further. In contrast, there's this button here, continue, which would just let the program run until it either finished or found another breakpoint. So continue would say just go on, continue, run to the end of the program. In this case it would just finish because there are no more breakpoints further down. But I'll press step, and so a few things have happened. Over here in the workspace you can see that the first assignment, the one on line number 2, has happened. So the value 55 has been put into a variable called mass. And the green arrow over here has moved down to line number 5. And so what this means is that the program is just about to run line number 5. It hasn't done it yet, but it's just about to. So if I now press step, you see that the statement on line number 5 is run, a new variable is created in the workspace, you see it here, and the arrow now points downwards, which indicates that it's finished with this file. And so it would go on and return to whichever other file was next if there was, but in this case there's not. We're just running this simple basic script. So if I press step again, then it's over. We're back to the main editor window. Here in MATLAB our prompt has returned to the normal prompt, which indicates that the program is no longer running. So that is the process of setting a breakpoint and then stepping through your code, which is a very useful thing to be able to do if you want to be able to, if you're having a problem with your program and you want to be able to inspect the value of a variable at a particular point. So let's say I clear that breakpoint. So what I did was I just clicked on the little red circle there, so every time I click it turns it on and off for that particular line. Let's say I put the breakpoint instead on line number 5, and then I press run, and so you see the first time that the program stops is when it gets to the breakpoint on line 5. I'll show you one more thing. If you actually put the mouse over a particular value, a particular variable, then it actually shows you the value which is inside it. So in this case here, value mass has the value 55, or the variable mass, I'm sorry. The variable mass has the value 55. So you can see that over here in the workspace, and also if you're in the editor you can see it by mousing over the particular variable. So that's a convenient little feature. So I'm finished with this, so I'll just press continue running, and now the program will just keep on going, and in this case there's only one more instruction to run, and that was where we were up to on line number 5.